I'm Kyle Sardinia, and you're watching Niagara Pro Tips. Today we're going to continue the discussion about Niagara Data Services, and we're going to look at one of the APIs for live read and write. So you've already seen some of the egress model pulling out historical data, but we've added a new API in the 4.14 release of Niagara Cloud Suite to be able to actually write back to points within the station and read the live values from those points. So let's go and look at the documentation that was published to the Resource Center. And we can see in the Niagara Cloud Suite page, we can go back to the API guide, and you can see the API support for the model, the histories, and as well as now there's this tab for the control API. As part of the new API support, there are 3 different endpoints to access the live read, the live write, and the live read point inputs. So to actually see all the various endpoints on the writable, you can and call them. So if we're going to look at the read point values, you could see here that you have the API v1 control, and then your devices and your system GUID, and as well as now this commands read for write. That's the same, just with write. And then to read the inputs, it is read all. So you have the path parameters as well as for the read points for the input, as well as just the regular read point. The request body parameters are the only requirements are the cloud ID and then the requesting priority. This just is number 1 through 255 being the lowest. Write point values are a little different as well in the request, because there is obviously you need to have the cloud ID, but you are providing a value that is going to write back, and as well as a duration for that override. And you are determining the input priority on that writable through the 16 inputs and the fallback, as well as still including that request processing priority. Before we can show an example, we do have to talk about the differences in roles for these client service accounts. In the account access, you previously had user access to determine what stations you had access to for the APIs, but to be able to use the Niagara Data Service operator role, you do need to assign devices to permissions for that client as well. So what that maps to on a station side, if I look at my device, I can view in my services underneath the authentication service. I can now have these authentication schemes for cloud authentication scheme, and there are role mappings that are associated with NDS operator and various user mappings, just to say that these NDS operator roles are being assigned cloud operator role on the station side. We can look at the roles that are given, and there's cloud operator, which maps to that NDS role. So you can see in here that there is user permissions to write and invoke. You can assign the admin permissions here if you would like, but really what you need to do is, if you are going to be looking at any specific points, you do need to make sure that they have that operator flag assigned to them. So here I have 2 numeric writable points, and I can look at their slot details to see that they are indeed have the operator flag. And I can expand to show that the fallbacks are just set to 55 and 56 here. And what I have here is just a simple curl command that I can manipulate here in this batch file, and I can look at a couple of the different input parameters that I can set. As far as my system GUID does need to be set, in the path parameter, I have that set here. I have my token authentication already handled from a previous video, but I can now see that I have the cloud IDs that are associated with these two points, and then I am passing in a value of 10, and then the duration for how long that override will be set for each, and then the input priority level that it will be assigned, and then the requesting processing priority that needs to be set. So if I just want to run that, I could see that it sends me back a success, full write time, and it will set in the station here the input 6, 10, and override that point. And I can see that this write point has this flag set on it as well to say when it will expire. What is also added to the station is the cloud history to look at all the write commands that have come in from the API. And I can view the operation that was a cloud multi-point write command, and I can see that the priority and everything that was set in the parameters is logged in the station. Let's look at a read example in Postman. So I'm looking at the path for read all to see the inputs of all of my points here. So let's add a couple of various inputs just to show some different numbers here. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to come back into the slot details, and I'm going to remove that operator flag on this first one, just to show that when I go ahead and I send this read all to these cloud IDs that I have pulled from the station itself, I can see that in my priorities, it will say for this cloud ID that error access is not allowed. So that's for to match with this one here, 54, and it returned for numeric writable 1 all of my input priorities. So and that only the fallback at 56 was set. But so let's say I come back in here and I give that the operator flag again, or give myself all of the permissions. I can come in here now and I can send that again, and I can come in here and I can see still that first point here, but here are those inputs that I set on that first numeric writable at N4 and N5 are coming in at 8 and 3 back to the API. And also, if I just remove this all and then I send again, I'll just get back the out values of those slots, which are currently at 8 and 56. And just to hop over to another visualization platform like Grafana to see, hey, maybe we're going to build out some visualizations here. I can see the I'm still doing a post to my system GUID path here in a read, and I am pulling in just a cloud ID of one of my points here, and I can I'm just saying that in here I am looking for the value and I'm displaying it as a number. I'm pulling in from the JSON string the point read details, just give me the wild card, and then I'll select the value, and it'll display here on this gauge. So then when I refresh, it'll give me the read value, or I can set it to auto refresh every how often, and it will update based on the point that is in my station. So if I want to put them side by side, I can come in here and I can emergency override it just to show, hey, emergency overridden at 2. I can refresh this so it goes and it will pull in the number 2. So within Niagara Data Services, you now know how to use the Control API to communicate directly with the Niagara station. Stay tuned for more pro tip videos, and we'll see you next time.